Welcome to Tales from the Abyss, where we dive deep into the darkest corners of human imagination and uncover the most chilling, spine-tingling stories from the unknown. If you're a fan of horror and suspense, you're in the right place. Sit back, turn off the lights, and prepare to be haunted as we bring you another terrifying tale that will keep you awake at night. The pit of the crawlers in a forgotten countryside, there lay a gaping chasm in the earth, ominously referred to by locals as the Abyss. The villagers whispered that it wasn't natural, that something ancient and malevolent lived within. They spoke of the crawlers, monstrous pale creatures that dragged people into the darkness, never to return. It was said that the pit was alive, calling out to the curious and the reckless. Ethan, a skeptic and thrill-seeker, laughed at these stories. He had moved to the area to escape his past and sought distraction in proving the villagers wrong. Determined to document the truth and silence the rumors, Ethan prepared himself for the journey. Armed with a flashlight, rope, and camera, he set off alone one cold and moonless night. The pit loomed ahead, its edges jagged and sharp, like the mouth of some great beast. A rancid smell wafted from the depths, and the surrounding air felt unnaturally cold. Ethan approached cautiously, peering into the endless blackness below. The faint sound of dripping water echoed up from the pit's depths, sending chills down his spine. Dismissing the unease as nerves, he secured his rope to a nearby tree and began his descent. The farther he went, the more alien the pit felt. Its walls were damp and slimy, covered in deep, uneven scratches. Scratches that didn't look like they came from any animal Ethan had seen before. The further he descended, the stranger it became. His flashlight flickered, as if the batteries were draining faster than normal. Then he heard it, a faint clicking sound, like nails tapping on stone. It echoed faintly at first, but it soon grew louder, sharper, and more distinct. Ethan froze, gripping the rope tightly as his eyes scanned the darkness below. His flashlight's beam illuminated the source of the sound. Dozens of milky white eyes stared back at him from the depths, glowing faintly in the dark. The creatures began to emerge from the shadows, their pale, emaciated bodies twisted and grotesque. Before he could react, one of them lunged upward, its long, bony arm reaching for his leg. Its skin was glistening, almost wet, and its claws gleamed in the dim light of his flashlight. Ethan screamed as it grabbed his ankle, its grip icy and strong. Panicked, he swung his flashlight, catching glimpses of its jagged, teeth-filled maw. More of the creatures, the crawlers, began climbing up the walls of the pit, their movements unnaturally fast and jerky. Desperation took over as Ethan slashed at the rope with his knife, cutting himself free just in time to cling to the pit's edge. With every ounce of strength, Ethan pulled himself out of the pit, collapsing on the ground as his breath came in ragged gasps. But the clicking sound didn't stop. Slowly, he turned to see the crawlers climbing over the edge of the pit, their glowing eyes fixed on him, their claws scraping against the ground as they advanced. He scrambled to his feet and ran, adrenaline propelling him forward as the sound of the creatures followed close behind. The trees seemed to close in around him as he fled, the crawlers' relentless pursuit driving him deeper into panic. When he reached the village, Ethan burst into his house, slamming the door shut behind him. He bolted every lock and pressed his back against the door, his heart pounding in his chest. For a moment, there was silence. Then the scratching began. The crawlers were outside, their claws raking against the walls of the house, their clicking voices echoing in the night. Ethan gripped his flashlight tightly, his hands shaking, but he knew it wouldn't be enough. The villagers found Ethan's house the next morning. It was empty, door hanging off its hinges, the interior torn apart. In the middle of the floor was a hole, wide and deep, as if the pit itself had claimed him. Now, the villagers live in fear. The pit is growing and the crawlers are no longer confined to its depths. When night falls, they lock their doors and pray, for the crawlers are always hungry. And once they've seen you, they will never stop hunting.